Shame it's a Michael Jackson song, but in Myanmar, tarnished icons still have currency. All I want to say is they don't really care about us, it goes. As across the country, hundreds of thousands marched in defiance of their military, vowing they'd be the last generation in Myanmar to suffer a coup d'etat. Central Yangon, like the national economy, crippled. A series of unfortunate simultaneous breakdowns blocked roads. Last night, a spokesman for the junta denied what had happened was even a coup. On Monday, the junta issued a law threatening dissenters with up to 20 years in jail. The threats, the law, the soldiers on the streets haven't made the blindest bit of difference, though. Thinzar Shunlei, a 29-year-old pro-democracy activist, is at Yangon's United Nations headquarters, lambasting its staff for failing to come out and talk. You're responsible, she yells in Burmese, for helping our country achieve peace and human rights. Where are you?
We want our government back, and you're responsible to do so.
Thinzar was born and raised in a military compound in Yangon. Her activist politics have caused a rift with her father, a former officer. In Myanmar, the army's known as the Tatmadaw. It projects itself as the very embodiment of patriotism and national identity.
We don't want a military to be involved in the politics anymore. They think they are the guardian of the democracy, and they truly believe that the current democratic transition they are working on is something they created by themselves for everyone to work in. So that's the mindset that we have to change, and they have to change. Without changing that mindset, then we can't really pursue further, because Tamaraw will always think they are the nation builder and nation the saviors, from everything.
The Tatmadaw is the only army on the planet that has been permanently at war since 1948. At any one time, it's fighting on several fronts, most ethnic insurgencies. Although with the Rohingya, they engaged in what the UN branded textbook ethnic cleansing.
Myanmar people being traumatized with the military junta for so many years. I don't think military is being regarded as how they want to be seen, because when we travel out of the big city in the rural area, also in ethnic area, especially in ethnic areas, Burmese regarded as a kind of a beast, as a kind of a scary troop that they have to be scared of for their generations. So they really hate military. That's the reality. Even though the military does not want to accept it, that's the reality.
But it's also a reality that unless the powerful military implodes, the generals who seized power are unlikely to relinquish it. If they don't, do you have any hope of success?
The military is just a small number in the whole country. We are 52 million in the whole country. If we are united against the coup, then of course in the end the peoples will win.
Yeah, but Thinzar, they're the guys with the guns.
Yes, they have guns and of course everything. Peoples have only pens and paper. But the people are united, and people are also very hopeful.
Aside from wanting the military out, what's united the protesters is their demand that their elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi be reinstated. She's now on trial on charges condemned as fabricated. The Nobel laureate may have fallen from her pedestal in the eyes of the outside world, but in Myanmar she's still wildly popular. She's 75 now, though, and there's a new generation in the wings. Do you think Aung San Suu Kyi represents the hopes and aspirations of the younger generation?
She belongs to the older generation. I think it is a different story now. Even though many young people voted for her, but the point that we are, when we look at the nations that we want to build in, we might have different aspirations, because the younger generations, we are the 60% of the population.
But Aung San Suu Kyi was once Thinzar's inspiration. As a teenager in her military compound, she was intrigued by her spirited defiance.
When I grow up and I realize and I learn about Aung San Suu Kyi, I respect her, I look at her and I try to be, try to believe in what she is believing. So like human rights, democracy, and I become a human rights activist, also a democracy activist.
But as time went by, Thin Zar felt Aung San Suu Kyi's politics were insufficiently inclusive of Myanmar's complex mix of 136 different ethnic groups.
So I think it's a high time for all of us to have a leadership and include the voices from the different backgrounds, and not just from the ruling party, but also from ethnic minorities, religious minority, to ensure that our future is inclusive and participatory for all of us in the generation.
Successive juntas ran Myanmar for half a century and brutally crushed past rebellions. First, the 1988 uprising, then 2007's Saffron Revolution. This generation is still hoping that this time they'll prevail.
You know, it's not like in 2007 or in 1988. We have a growing number of dissent voices, not just from the pro-NLD, but also from the general public. Even though we voted for different parties, we may do the same thing, going against the military dictatorship, because we all equally reject the military coups.
Tonight, grainy pictures emerged from Mandalay, where more than 50 shots were fired near the railway station as soldiers entered railway staff quarters after they'd joined the protests. Nerves are frayed. Myanmar's on edge. Neither protesters nor the military prepared to back down.